Okay. Welcome everyone to another week of Grow. So excited. So for those of you who are just joining us, Grow, Get Ready with Entrepreneurs is a gathering of like-minded entrepreneurs interested in building their brand through networking and sharing of ideas and best practices. As much as there will be a focus on topics related to marketing, our goal is to take a holistic approach to building a sustainable business to support our people, planet, and profits. So if you haven't connected with myself or Laura, our contact information is here. As well as all of our social media channels, or if you'd like to follow along with Acorn Studio Marketing, the QR code in the top right-hand corner will take you over to all of our social media, as well as we do have a Facebook group that has been going pretty strong and would love everybody to join that one. So today's conversation is how to create a social media strategy. Let's get into what a social media strategy actually is. So a social media strategy is a plan detailing activities for achieving goals like brand awareness or sales conversion on social media platforms. It includes selecting platforms, defining your target audience, creating relevant content, and analyzing results for future optimization. This type of strategy is crucial for managing online interactions, building an online presence, and driving success for your business. So let's talk about what actually goes into a social media strategy. There's a lot of things that it entails. And it starts with everything from details about your brand voice, breaking down your target audience, how you're going to be interacting with your audience, details about the platforms that you're going to be using and their goals. We have a section for SMART goals, how you're going to be posting. There's a lot of things. So I'm going to kind of break it down and try and simplify it as much as possible. So let's start with the basics. So we're going to talk about your target audience. So understanding your audience will help you write and create your content for social media. To be able to sell to your target audience on social media, you need to understand their language and what appeals to them. Essentially, the more details, the better. So in your social media strategy, you're going to build out a small persona. So this is going to be simple things like their age, their location, occupation, relationship status, if it is relevant, especially things like interests and hobbies, their buying habits. In most strategies, a target audience persona is necessary. But in this situation, when you are building your social media strategy, you want to specifically think about social media. So how your audience is going to be reacting and engaging on social media, which gets into their motivations. So when you figure out your audience persona, you're then going to break it down by user and then figuring out what their motivators are. So let's say if one of your audience users is a lifestyle blogger, so what are their motivations to buy or collaborate with you, and what are their motivations on the actual platform? So what are they interested in? What kind of niche are they attracted to? Who are they collaborating with? So knowing your audience really is the first step when you are building out your social media strategy, because then it's going to help you with the next stages. And going into the next stages, we're then going to go into learning more about the platforms. So now we know your audience, we know what's going on. Now we want to know about the actual platforms you're going to be using, because each one is different. So each platform has its own set of features, algorithms, and audience behaviors that dictate the type of content that performs well, the optimal posting frequency, and the best time to post. A deep understanding of these aspects will enable you to tailor your content and strategy to each platform, ultimately helping you to achieve your business goals more efficiently and effectively. So for example, if you, like most people, are using Instagram. So let's break down the actual platform. So we are going to put in a section for your goals. So what are your specific goals for Instagram? Then we're going to list some more details about it. So you know what the platform is best known for, the target audience that is specifically using that platform, the type of content that's shared, and then some key performance indicators. This exercise is really important because you might even find that your audience isn't matching up with some of the platform details. Like let's say if you are finding Facebook a platform where your audience really actually isn't while you're doing your research on the platform, then you might need to reconsider or kind of shift your goals a little bit if that's a platform that you need to be on. Next, we're going to take a look at your SMART goals. So this step is also very important. And we're going to kind of take a look at all of the previous exercises that we've done so far to then go into your SMART goals. So SMART goals provide a clear, structured, and measurable framework for your efforts. They ensure that your activities are specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound, spelling out SMART. Helping to focus resources, track progress, and align with overall business objectives. Essentially, your SMART goals act as a roadmap, ensuring your social media activities contribute meaningful and measurably to your success. So with each goal, and you can break this down however you like, you can get really, really specific and break down these goals per platform. Or if you want to kind of keep it high level, you can just go based off the goals that you've previously done. So let's say if one of your goals is to increase your brand awareness. Okay, so what's that specifically? So you want to increase followers on Instagram by 20%. And how are you going to measure that? So you're going to track the number of followers that you gain over the course of a certain period of time on that platform. Achievable. So with this goal, it's going to be gain 200 new followers monthly by posting daily and using targeted hashtags. Relevant is growing the follower base will increase brand visibility and potential customers. And this is going to be over the course of 3 months. So having SMART goals for each one is really important, especially if you are working with a team or if you are working with a social media manager, anyone else that is going to help you reach these goals. This is a great way to stay specific and help communicate those. Then we're going to go into brand tone and voice. So we filled out all that not so fun details. Now we're going to get into the actual communication part of your brand. So you want to clearly define the tone and voice of your brand. Is it formal, informal, friendly, professional, playful, serious, corporate, all of that kind of stuff? You want to ensure consistency of the brand's tone and voice across all social media platforms. So make sure that the tone and voice align with your target audience preferences and expectations. While you're filling this out, always reference back to their motivators and, your target audience persona. How are they actually wanting to interact with a brand online? So this section will be helpful to refer back to when planning future content or even working with a team or social media manager again. So one thing I always recommend having in a social media strategy, especially if you are trying to communicate with somebody else how you want content to be written out and captions to be written, especially with your brand tone and voice, is putting out some caption examples. So referencing some of the topics that you might talk about. For example, if you're going to be promoting a new product, write out a caption example. And that highlights how you're going to be communicating using those keywords in that specific tone. So if you are talking to the younger generation, you might want to use some emojis. You might want to break up your text a little bit more, but showing some examples will really help you down the road. This is also a really good section to refer back to. If, let's say, you are a few months down the road, you're finding that you're not engaging with the same audience that you were a few months prior, go back to this section and see if your tone and voice has changed. Sometimes we can lose track of things and it happens, but having this as a reference is really important. Video strategy. Now, this is a new thing that I've been incorporating into most of these social media strategies because video has become such a key piece in almost every single platform. So incorporating video into your content strategy will help you expand your reach. Almost all of the current social media platforms engage video content, both longer and short form content. Reference back to your target audience section and their motivators to help you identify types of videos that they might be interested in. So this is where you can break it down by platform. So if you are using Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, Facebook, what kind of video content are you going to be putting out? What topics, titles, your estimated video length, reference back to your platform details and what kind of videos that they're putting out. So let's say compared to TikTok, Instagram, If you have YouTube in your strategy, I know some people might not consider that an actual social media platform anymore, but YouTube Shorts for sure. This is where you kind of have to look back. It's like, okay, so how am I going to incorporate video into my current strategy? After that, now we're going to go into your posting schedule. This is where if you already have social media currently, this is where you can do a little mini audit and figure out your current posting schedule. So if you're posting testimonials on Mondays, if you're sharing tips on Thursdays, promoting weekend sales on Fridays, and maybe Saturdays are for your user-generated content. Taking a look at that and seeing if that's actually like sustainable. Then you're going to go into your goal posting schedule. So what new consistent plan are you going to do based off of the work that you've already done, like with planning out all of your videos, planning out all of your captions, now knowing a little bit more about your audience. So here are some guiding questions. So you want to think of like, what is your overall goal when it comes to your posting schedule? If you create a posting schedule, can you stick to this proposed plan for a minimum of 6 months? And the reason I ask this is because sometimes people will say, oh, I'm going to post like 10 times a week. It's going to be great. I'm going to get all of this engagement. It might work great for you the first like month. You might be able to do it, but things get busy. Is this actually a sustainable plan that you can create? A lot of these platforms, their algorithm is based on consistency. So if you go posting a crazy amount for an entire month, get so behind on other work and you drop off, the platform's not going to like that so much. So create a plan that you can stick with for at least 6 months. It's kind of like creating a habit. Another question is, how are you going to make sure that you stay on track with your content? Are you going to be working with your team? Is there a certain scheduling platform? Which goes into the next question of what tools will you be using to create, plan, and schedule your content? Laura and I have tried out multiple different types of planning software for posting to social media. And if that's a question you want me to answer later, I'm happy to do that and share kind of some experiences we've had. Hashtag strategy. This, I know I'm going to get some questions on, and I'm kind of excited for them. So in this part of your strategy, you're going to create basically groups of hashtags. So create a category list based on your business and content pillars. So with some research, make a list of hashtags you can reference when planning your content captions. And then keep in mind, each platform will have a recommended amount of hashtags they'd like you to use per caption. It's best to create a list and a variety of hashtags based on popularity and usage. So this part is going to, entail some research on your part. So we're going to start by creating some categories. And some common categories are, some company, your brand hashtags. So for example, Nike has hashtag just do it. Like that's their branded hashtag. One of your branded hashtags might be a saying that you have, a slogan. It might be your company name because hashtags are searchable. You can have a category based off of your location. So if you are location based, and then potentially some ones on your actual industry, and more categories will go in. These categories these groups are really good to reference back to when you are creating your posts. So you don't have to always think about your hashtags on the spot. You have ones that you can reference back to. And not to say that you can't mix categories, you totally can. This is just a reference for you to go back to, especially when working with a team. Engagement strategy. So this is a really big one, and sometimes I find it's missed. This section will essentially highlight how you will be engaging with your audience to expand your reach and grow your community. So list the type of content you will be sharing to interact with your audience, organize your influencer and collaboration strategy, as well as assign who and how you will be managing incoming comments, messages, and crisis situations. I know that sounds a little scary and it sounds a little complex, but it can break it down very easily. So start by going through all of your platforms, listing out your expected response times. Maybe you want to give people a day before you answer certain comments on certain platforms, or maybe you want to be available like 24/7 to answer comments. Maybe your expected response time is 12 hours because that's what you've given yourself. That's your goal. Another thing to do is manage who will be responding to each engagement. If you are working with a social media manager, if you are working with other team members, assigning roles is really important. So maybe you yourself manage the direct messages that come in on Instagram, but then you have a social media manager that manages all of the comments, or vice versa. Maybe you are in charge of all of the story engagement, and they just do the actual posts and the videos. Next, what you want to do is, if you are doing anything related with collaboration with influencers or other businesses and brands, this is something you can use to organize and kind of get prepared when you are planning your content. As platforms grow, it's, everybody's collaborating with everyone these days. It's not to say that you have to work with influencers. Sometimes collaboration just means collaborating with another business owner or a colleague or someone else. I collaborate with Laura, which is really great. If we ever have certain conversations where we both want to have the same say, it's really great. So this is where you can organize all of your collaborators or your influencers, brand ambassadors. So listing their primary platform, the collaborator's name, a bio, and about their business. This is a great section to keep everything organized when it comes to like their specific niche. Or if you are working with someone who only talks about this topic, then they're not going to be a collaborator you're going to talk to about. You're not going to collaborate them on a separate topic. It's going to be that one specifically. And then a link to your profile, so you can keep track of them, which is really great. Again, this tool is really helpful when you are collaborating with a team, so everybody's on the same page. So I have gone ahead and I have predicted some questions that I'm going to get from everyone. So here are some frequently asked questions. Number one, do I need a social media strategy for each platform? Not necessarily. I think one social media platform as a whole is great, but in your social media strategy, you are going to have specifics for each platform. And the more that you can know about your audience on that platform, the better. Next one is, what if I have two or more very different audiences with different motivators? So the first couple exercises that we did at the beginning, getting to know your audience, that second section where you are picking out those motivators, let's say you only have, if you have Instagram, but you have two very different audiences, there's a couple of things that you can go about doing this. One, you can create two different profiles. Like if they are completely separate, you can create two different profiles for your business if they have different goals. That's a lot of work and it's not always recommended. But what I would spend more time doing is figuring out those common denominators. So if you have two audiences, but they are coming to your business, there is a reason that those two people are coming to your business. So what are those reasons? What are those motivators that they share? And then go off of that. If I hire a social media manager, can I give them my created strategy? Absolutely. If you've done all the work, if you've gone through all of this and you bring on a social media manager, this is a great place for them to get started. As somebody who has created strategies for countless businesses, I have worked with people who have given me strategies, and it's a great place to start. Depending on the social media manager that you bring on or the social media team that you hire, they might have specific things that they need to know about your business. So most likely the strategy that you create will be a good starting point for them. They might need to expand on it a little bit depending on their process. But for the most part, if you've got the bones, they can build the rest. And then it's also a really great tool for you to have when they do that kickoff call and when you do hire, when they do take you on as a client. It's like you have all the answers that they probably are going to ask you. What's the difference between a social media strategy and a marketing strategy? I will give my 2 cents on this one, and then I will probably bring in Laura for this because we actually had this conversation yesterday. I think it was a really good conversation. Your marketing strategy is a whole. It is everything to do with your marketing. Your social media strategy is specific to your social media platforms that you will be using and the details that go into it and the audience around social media itself. Marketing is everything. It's not to say that it's not going to have some social media strategy bits inside of it, but your marketing strategy will tell everyone how social media will be used and the tactics that you will be using for social media. So it might not break down all the details per the platform, but it's going to say like, oh, if I have a marketing goal of this, social media is going to come in here, and this is how it's going to work. Laura, anything else you'd like to add to that?
No, that was really well done. And start with your marketing strategy. And I will say, even to step back before that, is make sure you have a business plan in place, because your marketing strategy has to support your business goals. And then social media is a nested strategy within it. And that's why the director of marketing, or whoever that is, you want that central document that has the big picture. And so how does social media play into it? So you'll have that overview, that big strategy, and then you potentially will have, here's my key goals that I want to do. And at the end of the marketing strategy, probably a link to the appendix. And that, what Emily is building out here, is that working document that you go off and you make sure you do it. And then you kind of report back to that marketing strategy. So like Emily said, it's that big picture that holds everything from your media outreach to your content development to any other tactics, maybe events play into play. So that would be your big marketing strategy.
Awesome. Thank you, Laura. That was really great. So based off of everything that we've talked about today, Laura and I have created so many resources for social media. It's insane. So we do have a social media strategy template, and a lot of the images that you saw and the charts that you saw today were pulled from this strategy. There are a lot more details outlined in this strategy, and some more guiding questions, including, how to lay out your pillars, all of that kind of stuff. There's a QR code right below it if you want to check that out, as well as we do have some other templates, like an Instagram audit checklist. We also have an Instagram engagement checklist and a social media calendar template, which we've used countless amounts of time. It's awesome. And then if you want to check out all of our other resources, the QR code on the right-hand side will take you right over to our website. If you missed last week, it's a really good one. I highly, highly recommend checking it out. It's how to do an Instagram audit. So if Instagram is one of your platforms that you are using, so as most people I can see are using, please watch this video. Doing an audit before you do your strategy is highly recommended, because then you can take a look to see what's working, what's not working, to help build your strategy. You might think that your audience is A, but your audience might actually be B after you take a look, a detailed look of your profile. And just because this is an Instagram audit, the same practices can be done for all of your other platforms as well. So please check it out. It is on our YouTube channel. The QR code is in the bottom right-hand corner. And also, if you feel crazy, subscribe to our channel. It's going to be a good time.